Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant evening I bid to all. So today we're going to talk about, like being written very obvious in the screen, upholding integrity and inclusivity in Malaysian political practice and governance. So before we begin, I'd just like to say something. The view from here is very encouraging to come here on the Sunday afternoon, just to hear somebody talk about political and stuff in Malaysia. So I feel very empowered, very encouraged to see the number of turnout that come for today. So I guess that if you love Malaysia, then you just love Malaysia whenever you stay or live. So it's a good thing to see the number of turnout. So a little bit on the topic that we're going to discuss for today. So Malaysian Aspiration Summit has been committed throughout the year. We want to involve and want to contribute in how to combat the problem of brain drain, and we want to how to involve in this discussion, in this policy making. So we also we refuse to sit down and just ignore things and sit the upper. So that's why we're coming up all throughout this year. We have 3 events and just to build up for this Malaysian Aspiration Summit. So we believe that there is a lot of factors that contribute to the problem of brain drain, and obviously one of it is political sphere of Malaysia. So this is why we bring to you 4 speakers that I think competent enough to talk about this matter. We will challenge them and on the question on whether the political framework in Malaysia affect the problem of brain drain in Malaysia, and if it do affect, then how we're going to respond to this problem. So that is basically the focus of today's session, and that's the focus of my session for the time being. So to begin, let's talk about multiculturalism in Malaysia. So a lot of people say that Malaysia is blessed with multi-ethnicity background of the people, right? And what, if anything, the 30th May of 1969 have taught us is that this blessing require proper handling. And for the past 50 years, our mechanism to handle this multicultural ethnic background of Malaysia is through race-based policy. So let us ask this question: is this approach still relevant? If it's not relevant, can we depart from this concept? So we're going to invite Dato Zaid Ibrahim to speak first and touch on this issue, and so that we can have a better insight on this particular matter. So Dato Zaid, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So I sit down or I stand up?
Up to you.
Okay, sit down then. Firstly, I want to thank the organizers, Malaysian Aspiration Summit committee members, for giving me this opportunity. I always like to come here. My 2 children were here before, so Melbourne is a good place for me. Secondly, I always like to meet young people like yourself, so that a few things I can tell you, so that you can remember them. And one of the things is about our country. Now, our country is going through some turmoil. Although it looks good on paper, it's going through some serious turmoil in the sense of direction, in the sense of the way forward. You see, in 1957, when we got our independence, we got it because the British were just tired. No, seriously. 10 years before 1957, which is about 1947, 46, the British already decided they had to go. After the Second World War, they got nothing left. So they had to leave all the colonies behind. They wanted to leave east of Suez. That's the plan. Even Winston Churchill made that very clear. So happened that at that time, we had 3 races: Malay, Chinese, Indian, 3 major races. Hardly they know each other. They were just totally together because of some historical reason, And politically, they are also not united. But we have to have independence because it's given to us. This is the best time to get it. After all the other countries were getting their independence. So the elite of our society then, the Tunkus, the aristocrats, and the tiny Tauke, the Indian Tauke, they all get together, and this is your country. So the alliance was basically a group of elite, well-meaning, good people, Tunku and all that, Tan Siew said, But they were the elite of our country. When they got the independence, they didn't really know what to do with it. And 1964, I'm going back so that you understand a bit of history, okay? 1964, suddenly they realized that the Malays were not very happy. PAS got Kantat, PAS almost got Terengganu, that the Malay heartland was not very happy because they were very poor. And also there's some pockets of Chinese also not happy for various reasons. After Malaysia, of course, Lee Kuan Yew had this idea that, oh, we cannot have special privileges because we are Malaysia, he said. So we cannot have this, we cannot have Article 153, we should let go. And then the other quarters are not happy. The Indians are not happy for different reasons, of course. I don't want to go into that, not too many reasons. But basically, we were not happy. So we had 1969, sudden eruption, people killed, there were riots. I'm simplifying this, of course, but I'm taking you to the point where after 69, they decided, okay, one way to bring unity to Malaysia was to have this new economic policy, which is a kind of an affirmative program, affirmative policy, helping communities that are underrepresented or poor or marginalized. Which is fine. They've already accepted it. They try to, by social engineering, change the landscape, the economic landscape. But like everything else, that became something else. See, affirmative policies were first used by President Kennedy in 1961. It's a policy where government, naturally ruled by the majority, because in a democracy, the majority rule. It's a policy that's used to rectify shortcomings amongst the minorities. You see, the marginalized, like the red-handed in America, or like the caste, the lowest caste in India, they are not represented in government. So affirmative policies are used to rectify the difficulties experienced by these communities. But in Malaysia, these affirmative policies, these special policies, are governed by, are managed by the majority. Already you are in government, and then you have special privileges and more. What is the outcome? The outcome is racist policies over the years, greedy policies over the years. You give him things because you belong to a particular race, or not just particular race, your particular friends. So this policy has become the most divisive policy that we have experienced. And we still have it today. These so-called policies to help the Malays have become the most divisive policy that our country has. So the first thing for unity in the country, we have to say that we have to let go. This is a racist policy. It's a racist policy. There's no other country in the world where the majority decides what's good for them. The majority should decide what's good for the majority, for most people. And then, if there are shortcomings in our society, then we should help those people. Whether Orang Asli, for example, deserve affirmative policies because they don't belong to Barisan Nasional. They don't have MPs in Parliament. They don't have Chamber of Commerce. They are the original people. That's the sort of people that deserve special help. Not Malays. Malays are only 65% of the country. We have all the rulers are Malays. All the military personnel except one Malays. So why do you need special privilege for them? But of course, this is a challenge. It's very divisive. It doesn't optimize resources. It leads to corruption. But we still have them today. So you all have to fight for change. Remove this policy. That's number one. Okay? Number two, you have for unity in the country. I don't know, 15 minutes is too short. Why do you give me 15 minutes? I come all the way and you give me 15 minutes. No, I'm just joking. I can do it. Second point, if you want unity, you must accept the diversity in our country. Some of our leaders, they talk nonsense. You know, they have to accept that we are a diverse community. Even if 65% are Muslims, there are many shades of Muslims in Malaysia. I'm not talking about Shia Sunni, you know, the one who they're so busy now. Shia Sunni. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about even amongst the Sunnis. Dr. Zaid is a Sunni, Zaid Ibrahim Sunni, but we have different Sunni. It's past. So, what I'm saying, there are many levels of Sunni Muslims. Some liberal, some conservative, some hypocrites. Yeah. In the Muslim community, the Muslim leaders in Malaysia, they talk as if they are so conservative, as if they are so pious. But I see them in London with Chinese girlfriend, Indian girlfriend. I see them in casino. He said this, Akadazan invented racism. It's a racist statement that comes out from our leaders. If I'm a chief minister, I'll sack him, but of course, I don't know what happens in our country. You know, they're scared. Huh? You have racist people who, Kadazan are real people, they're different from us. But they are real people, you cannot make fun of them. You must accept our diversity. So number two, you accept diversity in the country and you must prepare the groundwork for the country in that manner. I wish the Sabah leaders are a bit more bold. So our leaders, you know, they talk about 20 points joining Malaysia on this stuff, but they do nothing. Barisan Nasional give them some zinc and something, they're happy. Kawan Festival or Keamatan, they're happy. You see, you must, to get unity, you must fight for your rights. The states, the federation must fight for their rights. Sabahans and Sarawakans must fight, they are equal partners in this venture. But if you're scared of Putrajaya or Amno, I think there's no unity. Okay, my last point, because we have only 50 minutes. You want unity in the country has to be economically available to all. You cannot keep the rich to be so rich. Malaysia, you think it was good, Putrajaya, KLCC, but we are a poor country. And the only reason we are not poor, according to Putrajaya, is because poverty is defined as a household having an income of $863. That's why we're not poor. You know, I know. A household of 5 to live in KL or any part of urban part in Malaysia, you need 2,000 ringgit at least. You can tangkap camera pun sudah $300. You get fined by the policeman $200. You get, you know, how can you live with $860? The government is not realistic. So poverty line, in my book, is $2,000. So if you look at that as a measuring, as a threshold, then you have many poor people in this country, in our country. Including Bumiputras. In fact, there are more Bumiputras, more Malays who are poor under that category. That means to say, this special policy, these special privileges, is nothing. It's only going to make somebody very, very rich, that's all. So, for unity, you have to go back to 1969. The reason why we failed in our first phase of trying to forge a united nation was because we were totally far apart. The poor and the upper class were so far apart. And if we're not careful, we're going to have that disparity again. Malaysia today, at the Gini coefficient, which measures the disparity between the rich and poor, we are one of the highest in Asia. The difference between the rich and the poor, we are one of the highest. I don't have the figure, I think it's 4.6 something. So we are a society that's divided. We are a society that makes some people very, very rich, some people very poor. And we are a country that do not want to recognize the realities of the ground. We're divided multi-ethnic community. When we recognize all that, and we have the will to address these issues, and we have the guts to fight these issues, and I hope Pastor Zoris here will have the guts to fight these issues. And PAS can do that by opening the door to all, regardless of religion. That's how PAS will fight UMNO, because UMNO is very shallow. You know, UMNO is just for Malay. It's set the type of I cannot join. They sack me. So PAS is the alternative if you want to fight UMNO. But you have to open up. Open up. It should not be a party between the liberals and the clergy. It should be the party with the rakyat and the rest. That's how we move forward. So that's all I have to say for 15 minutes. If you have any question, I will answer it. Thank you very much.
We're going to have a Q&A session later part of this session, but